Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you guys are doing extremely well. This video is all about Jetpack Compose Crash Course. So, Jetpack Compose is the modern UI toolkit for Android, and importantly, it's also the building blocks for Compose multi-platform. If you are planning to move to Compose multi-platform, then also Jetpack Compose is the building block. That means when you learn Compose, you are not only getting ready for the Android, but you're getting ready for the other platforms as well via Compose multi-platform for iOS, web, even desktop. Okay. So in this video, I will teach you everything you need to start building apps using Compose. So we will discuss about everything, all the basic things of the Jetpack Compose, composables, layouts, modifiers, state, list, navigation, view models, side effects, theming, all the other things. So let's start with this without any delays. So in the Jetpack Compose, everything is composed of uh, composable functions. Everything you see on the screen is made up of composable functions. Okay. So at the rate composable is used to define those functions. Okay, and there we define how the UI should look like. We use the material components to define the UI, and we use some state. Depending upon that state, that composable recomposes and UI gets changed depending upon these changes of the state. So basically, whenever the data changes, compose function recomposes the affected UI which required that data which got changed. So if you see, this is just a simple composable function. We use the at the rate composable annotation for this, and this is, you can say, data. Depending upon this data, this composable will recompose. If we change this, this will be recomposed and it will show the updated changes of this state. This one, okay. And similarly, we have preview as well. So preview will be reflecting the preview in the real time. You can see for this creating composable, we can use the preview. Inside the preview with preview annotation, we can use some parameters as well. Here you can check them out. Show background, etc. Other parameters are there. So for previewing, the while we are designing, we can preview it side by side for designing it. That will reduce some time because we don't need to run the app every time after making some changes. So first of all, you need to make sure once you will be creating the project, all the things are there. Build features, compose. This is the important thing which you need to be there, and then compose options will be there. Compile, not the compile, basically compose options. Yeah. So yeah, that's all basically. So but this you don't need to worry about. If you create a new project, this comes in built there. This build feature composed too. Okay. And for other things like for navigation and view model, we need to add few libraries. You can check them out on the documentation. Android X navigation compose. Then similarly we have view model as well, these libraries. Okay. So next we'll be moving to the layout basics. So while showing the layouts, so basically here we will be discussing all the basic components. Okay. So layout basics are, we can need the layouts like horizontally one after the other. Suppose this one is the first one, then second item, or we may need them vertically as well. This one, then below that this one. Okay. So we will discuss all those things. So column is used for vertical alignment. So if I show you here, if I use the column here and I add any two items here, this one and the next one. Suppose this is the some title, this is some subtitle, just for example. Okay. So if you see, now they will be coming below each other. If you see, they are coming below each other. And similarly, we have arrangements as well, vertical arrangement, where in this pose, if total height is like full screen, on that full screen where we want to align them. So if I apply this modifier, Suppose if this composable take up full width, and then suppose on this full screen where we want to align this content, on the top, in the middle, in the bottom, that for that purpose we use the vertical arrangement. You can use the arrangement center, bottom, top, anywhere. Okay, if you see, this is in the center. Similarly, it can be in the top as well, right? Then similarly we have opposite polarity as well. Here horizontal alignment, how we want to align them horizontally. This is the alignment. Suppose center horizontally, if you see. Okay, this is about the column. Similarly we can have row as well. Okay, so things will be similar, but that will be for the horizontal arrangement. Okay, so and arrangement part is the same polarity. For the column is vertical. For vertical things we use the arrangement. Similarly here arrangement will be for horizontal, same polarity, because row is the horizontally aligned, so arrangement will be of horizontal. Arrangement dot and center or anywhere, and alignment is opposite type. So for the row, opposite is vertical, same polarity is horizontal. If you see in the preview, if I show you, if you see, this is, they are now in the horizontal. If I add just spacer here, you can use the spacer as well for spacing. We can give the size in the dp. Dp is like standard dimension unit here. So sorry, spacing is for width here. You see, these are the horizontally aligned. So horizontal arrangement is center. You can give it start as well, end as well. If you see, okay, this is for the row, column for vertical, row for horizontal. Then we have box as well. Okay, so box is basically for this stack arrangement. So we can align them on top of each other, or if I will show you, let's say modifier, we don't have these. Here we have content alignment. So all the content where that will be aligned, like center, top, bottom, all those things, they are similar. Okay, alignment dot center vertically, not vertically, it will be like top, center, or where we want to align. There are multiple options, you can check them out. Okay, and for this specific component as well, we can specify, suppose this title, where we want to align it. Suppose we want to align it, modifier dot align. This align will be available on this box. We can use that to align, let's say in the top start, and then let's say, if you see, and this one, suppose I align in the bottom end. If you see, subtitle is here, bottom end, this is on the top start. Or if I don't give it any alignment, it will be top center. Suppose if I give it top start, it will be overlap. If you see, title and then overlapping subtitle. Okay, so this is about the box for overlapping things. If you don't want vertical or horizontal, you want to control those alignments, we can use box. These three are the basic building blocks for all the layouts. Then we have modifiers. What are modifiers? So modifiers are how you can change size, padding, background, clickability, alignment, all those things for the composables. Okay, you attach a modifier to a composable and then chain operations. So if I show you, let's say, if you see, this is the modifier dot align. We are using the align. Then we can specify other things. Let's say padding. Then let's say if I want to give background, or let's say primary container. If you see on this, if you see, this is the background now. Okay, so this is the way we can specify the modifiers. Okay, modifier order matters. So basically I will show you one more example for this. Let's say for example, for padding thing, if I show you, so if I remove this padding here and give it after this, so then if you will observe here, if you see, did you notice anything? So first it applied background, so it applies them from the top to bottom. First applied background, this color, then it gave padding. So padding will be applied inside the background, because after background is being applied, so on this thing till that part this modifier will be applied. But if I apply it here, if you see, first it will apply padding, so here padding will be there, here, and then it applied background, then a background, it will go inside padding. So order is from top to bottom. Then we have material 3 components, basic components which we need. Okay, so we can have button, components. So let's say here if I use any button, okay, on click, and then we can specify its text, submit or anything. Okay, this is basically its content. Let's say this is the modifier, content will go here, this is the button, modifier, on click, content. If you see, let's now use it here in the preview. If you see, this is the button. Similarly we have other components as well. You can go through the material components. Basically we have button, we have scaffold, we have text field, all those things are there. So similarly we can have many material components. If I show you text field, if I show you, it can use the value. Let's say initially it's empty, then we can have on value change, we want to use that. Let's say value text by remember, I will explain remember in a bit. So it's used to remember the state across compositions. Just for example, let's say initially it's empty and I'm using it here. On change, I'm changing it, okay, this way. So this is kind of a text field, if you see. So this is the box, so we can basically use the column here. If you see, this is the input. There can be multiple types of input, outlined, text field. Okay, it will be this one, if you see. So even if you can start interactive mode as well here, if you see, now it's interactable, clickable button. Okay, these are some important material 3 components. Similarly we have scaffold as well. Scaffold contains all the things like top bar, content, bottom bar, all those things. Like that is the structured way, we don't need to add those separately to manage the structure. That is the structured component, you can say it. We can provide the top bar, then the content and the bottom bar, everything there. Or floating action button as well there. Okay, even if I add that here, you will understand that. So if you see, top bar is there, top app bar, we can use that. Okay, This is the experimental as of now. Title, then we have actions. I think title is the composable here. So what we can do is we can use the title and then like this. If you see, now I will be adding it inside the content. So this is the content basically, and above that on the top of content we have, if I show you, this is the title bar. Let's move this button a little bit here, and it provides inner padding basically to line things properly. You can apply that padding here. So if you see, now this is the top bar, and if you see, it has colors as well. If I give it colors, dot top app bar colors, container color. So material theme has color as well, like this material 3 dot color scheme dot. You can apply these colors. These they are defined in the theme. I will show you theme as well in a bit. So let's say specify the primary container. This is the top bar. Then this is the content. Let's say inside the content I add this padding. Plus I add one more padding little bit. After this padding, we can apply modifier multiple times as well. Some modifiers are there. This is the padding will be applied on both times. If you see, all directions that padding is got applied. Padding can have other gain like all. If you want to horizontal, can use those as well. Just horizontally like these here and here. Then vertically you can to specify, you can use that as well, like this vertically, or you can specify different one for each one. You can use start and top bottom. Okay, so this is about the scaffold, and it provides, if you see, if you go here you can see top bar, bottom bar, snack bar, host as well, floating action button as well. All these things are there. So this is the kind of a structured component. It provides the app structure. Okay, so this is about the scaffold, and now let's move on to the lists basically. So inside the lists we can have, so we can use the lazy column there for the lists. Okay, so inside of this, instead of this column, or even along with this column I can show you, so lazy column can be there. So why lazy column basically, so we can use column as well, vertically alignment, but lazy column is great for lists, because column have many issues. So column renders all the items which are not even on the current viewport, let's say. Okay, so this is the screen, all the items below this also loaded even while they are not needed, but lazy column just loads the items which are currently visible on the screen. And also it improves the performance in other ways as well. It uses the so basically how we can do it, inside this we need to use the items, and inside this we can pass the list of items. Let's say just a simple example, just a simple item list of coding, just an example. So we can pass them here, and we can specify key as well here. You need to import the items. By mistake I imported the item, so here we need to pass the list and then key should be unique. Here we can pass the item itself, or maybe if it can be the same, then don't pass it. Usually it will be a id of the data class that will be unique, but here we can pass this one as well. Let's say random seed of 1000, then we can use random dot next int maybe. Okay, and here we can just specify those many items. Okay, so these all items now will be, so if I show you lists example, if I show you 2 items are there, even if I remove this button it will be just the 2 items, you see. So this is about the lazy column basically. Similarly we can have lazy row as well for horizontal list if we want, similar to the row. Okay, so key matters. Why key matters basically? So in case of insert delete, the item gets deleted, so it identifies that by key. Okay, it preserves per item table. If something state of this one item got updated, it identifies that by the item, so that it will not update the other items by mistake. So it need to identify the item by some ID. That's why key is needed for certain kind of things. For the compositions and many other things are there for which it's useful. Then we have the state. So here if you see, I used the remember. So basically why we need remember, if I type here, if you see, if I just enable the interactive mode here, and if I type how state is updating, so basically what will happen is, if I don't use it as a state, just use the mutable state dot value, so what will happen is dot value. So if you will observe, if you see, it's not updating. I'm typing here but it's not updating because it's not able to. Every time this will be recomposed, we update it, it will, we type character here, it will update this, and this text is used by this, so this will be recomposed, and across recomposition state is not retained. For that purpose we use the remember. Okay, so remember, by remember state is recomposed across, state is retained across recomposition. So while we are typing, we are updating its value, and that value is retained using the remember. So across the recompositions, whenever some state is changing and we need to maintain the state across the recompositions, we don't want to that to be reset, then we can use the remember. Similarly we have remember saveable as well. So remember saveable is used for retaining state across configuration changes as well. Suppose across rotation or other things, remember is not retained, it will reset, but we can use the remember saveable there, like this. We can specify key as well, depending upon some key, let's say anything, any key, like any other variable, we can specify that here as many keys as we want. Depending upon those keys, if those keys change, then also it will be updated. We can use those keys as well. Then we have state hosting. So what is state hosting? So basically state hosting is moving the state up to a parent composable. For simple example, if I show you, let's say we have one state using remember mutable state of, let's say initially make it 1, and then I have one button on click. So on click we are increasing the count, let's make it where, and inside this we can show that. So here the state is not hosted. So the thing is, we cannot reuse this thing anywhere, or this button with this text. Okay, so if I update it, already interactive mode, state is updating, but this is state is not hosted. This is the state. State is inside the composable. So we can do state hosting for this. How? Let me show you. To, so for this thing, we can move this inside a one new composable, counter. Okay, and it can accept one parameter count, and on count update it can be one callback. So on click we can use on count update, we can show the count here, and we can use this counter here. Okay, and here we can pass this state here, and inside this we can update count. So now this state of this composable, so for this composable, state is moved to its parent. Now parent is controlling, and now this can be reused. This makes state hosting makes the composables reusable. Okay, and this UI becomes stateless, and that's why it becomes reusable. State it's accepting, it's not maintaining the state here. Okay, separation of concerns it also create. This thing can be reused at other places as well, but if I see here, this is used here itself. Then we have navigation. So navigation example. So for the navigation we use the nav host that host all the navigation routes, and for that nav controller remember can use the we need to remember the nav controller. Okay, and then we need to pass the some route here. Let's say we have two routes and start destination is home. We need to pass the nav controller and start destination, and then inside this we use the composable to define all the screens or targets here. For all the destinations we define the screens here. Let's say this is for home, we can define anything here like text home, or let's say use one button as well. Let's say navigate to screen 2, on click of this, and we need to define that screen as well here. Let's say like this, screen 2, this is the route basically, and on click of this we use the nav controller dot navigate. What is the route? So this is the simple navigation I'm showing you, but now we have type safe navigation as well. On those topics I have another separate videos as well, you can check them out. Type safe navigation, we use the instead of string routes we use the data classes as routes. Okay, so yeah, let's say screen 2 here, and let's say navigate back, and then we can use nav controller dot navigate up. Either we can use navigate up or we can use pop back stack as well. Difference you can read them out, because for this video it will become longer video, so I am not covering that much detail here. Okay, so if I make it interactable here, if you see, this is the screen 2, navigate back, this is the navigation. Then we can use view model as well. So if you are from Android, you might know about already about view model, but here we use the, just for example, let's say we create the view model extending the view model class, And then let's say we can have some state there, UI state by, well, first of all we need to define that here. Let's say we use the basically state flow here, mutable state flow, and as of now I'm just using empty state, let's say. And then we have one public variable exposed, and that is not the mutable, that is the state flow. For updating this private property we use the mutable state flow. For exposing the public property we use the state flow simple, because it cannot be then modified outside this view model. That's why we expose the state flow like this as state flow. And then we mostly observe this in this screen. Let's say if I create, yeah, let's say here view model, this is the one method from Jetpack Compose for creating the view model. But ideally we use the coin or other dependency injection in real world projects. So that view model we can use here. And that basically, if I show you how we use the state, view model dot state dot collect as state with life cycle, we need to collect that state as life cycle. Then this becomes the state in the compose, that is the of state type. Okay, then we can use its value here anywhere. Let's say state dot value, anything we can print it here. Oops, my bad, we can use that here. Okay, if you see empty, or if we use anything there, that can be whenever that will state will be updated, it will be again connecting that, and then this state will be updating, and then this UI will be updating. So that's how we use the view model for holding the business logic. Then we have some side effects as well, and then finally we will be moving to some simple app. I will create quick simple app there to cover these concepts. So for side effects we use the, let's pick this up. There are multiple kinds of side effect. I will show you the important ones. Let's say we want to do something first time while this composable is rendering on the screen. We can use the launch defect there. If we want to use that once, want to make that happen once, we use the unit key. Otherwise, if depending upon some key we want to reload that every time, we can use that key here. Whenever that key will be changing, this thing will be executing. We can call some API here or some other logic which we want to call once when composable enters. For that we use the launch defect. So basically side effects are when we want to update some things which are not the compose things, you can say outside, we want to interact with the outside things from compose. Okay, and then similarly we can use Kotlin scope as well. We can have, for that we need to use, let's say we want to call some suspend functions from here on button click. Then what we can do is we can use the button, then we can call the on click, then we can use that scope dot launch. We can call any API or suspend functions, anything here. Okay, outside state updates. This is for, these two are the important ones, side effects. So if you go here in the main activity, this is the theme, this is the Jetpack Compose theme. Okay, and inside the theme we have few things, color scheme, typography, which I am using here. I showed you as well. For color schemes we can have many colors For typography we can have styles there. For the content is the content which will be rendered there. So if I show you material theme, I use so color scheme. If you see, this way we can use multiple colors, and these colors are defined in the colors scheme, the dark color scheme, light color scheme. These you can customize them accordingly, dark and light colors accordingly. Okay, this is about the theming. Now let's quickly move on to the one quick app which we'll be making here. Let's make quickly, which will be covering all these topics, most of these topics. So let's say, let's pick up some things there from there. So let's pick up this list thing. Okay, let's pick up this, and okay, then make it experimental. Okay, this is the top bar, and so these items will be updating in a bit. So what will happen is, let's use one more thing from here, that is the input field. Let's pick it up, and button as well. Even let's pick it up column. Let's say here we have one simple row, let's say. Okay, let's use all this inside the column. So on the top we'll be adding some input field, then we're showing those to do's inside that input field. I will show you in a bit. So in the main activity as well, let's show that to do app. Okay, and let's remove this scaffold, we are using it there already. Okay, so and here we will be showing to do item. We will create that composable. Okay, so let's say we will be showing on the top, we will be using the one input, and then inside that, so if I show you here, let's say some input, then add button, then below that we will be showing it list, to do list. So for that, let's create one composable quickly, to do item. So this to do item will be accepting the text, then we can show that text here. Okay, then we can show some styling there, modifier dot fill max width, then add some padding in all directions, or spacing we will add on the lazy column. Basically here just add the inner padding. Okay, then background, color scheme dot, let's say primary container, then let's in the background let's specify the shape as well. We can show the rounded corner shape. These are the types of shapes we can use. We can use the rounded corner as well, we can use circular as well. Okay, then finally all directions padding. Okay, and for this list we can use to do's. Basically we will use, we can use remember saveable here, mutable state of list of. Initially we can show, let's say, buy milk, some to do's we can show, then we can show anything else. Cold add, oops, my bad. Okay, these to do's later on we can show here, and this one we will be updating from. And we can similarly add random as well for random id. But ideally for key we will be using the id, unique id. Okay, and here we can pass that item. Okay, can we see how it looks like now? Try to run it. And then what will happen is, on clicking that, we will be adding new to do. If you see, this is the top bar, then this input field, and then here we can add some spacer, modifier dot width 16 dp. Instead of submit we will use the add. If I try to run it, we can use this modifier on the top one. Okay, and now what we will be doing is, if you see, this is the list and this is the input field, this is the button, add button. For this, what we can do is, button will be filled up, basically this is filling up, then this button is taking up space. We can use the modifier dot weight as well. This is again very important thing. So weight is for, let's say, x. For this component it will take up the remaining space which is available inside this row, except when all other components are rendered. Now button will be rendered, then remaining space it will be taking up. Similarly in the column as well it happens vertically. So now we will do the remaining work. So here what we can do is, we can update the to-dos dot to-dos. We will be updating that list directly. We can use the plus operator to update the list. Let's make it where to-dos plus new to-do. So basically this new to-do will be the text, and then we will be resetting the text. This one, text is this value of this input field. If you see now, it's looking cool. So if I add something here, coding, 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 because that's all what we ended up do. Right, or maybe DSA, we can add system design study. Okay, so that's how it works. We made the simple app as well. This is the lazy column, scrolling as well happening, scrolling is happening there. So like this, if you see, this is, we made this simple to do app as well. It covered many concepts here, lazy column, input thing, and then this state, many things there. And even if we improve this, this is this reusable state, and we can improve things like, we can move this to another composable. If you see, to do items. We can make it like this. Okay, and even we can you make it as a composable as well. We can extract it inside the composable to make it reusable. Okay, we can do that. To do input, let's refactor it. Let's not return it. Let's use one callback here. And this can be accepting the value, and we can apply one check as well. If text dot is not empty, only then we will be calling that on add with text. We don't need to return anything. That is not the ideal way. Okay, so now if you see here, we can add that logic. We can update the to do is equal to to do's plus it, or we can alias it like this. Okay, now state hosting also happened, so these to do's we can use them. Actually, we don't even need them here. Okay, if we add anything here, it will work. Okay, and that's all. So we are done with the Jetpack Compose Crash Course. So that's all about the Jetpack Compose Crash Course. From the basics of composables, we covered modifiers, state, lists, navigation, ViewModels, side effect, theming, and then complete mini app as well. Okay, we use the lazy column with keys and how state hosting works. These are the all topics which you will be ever needed to make Jetpack Compose apps to get starting with. And so that's all about this. So I hope you have enjoyed it. And before this Jetpack Compose crash course, if you want to learn Kotlin as well, I have full complete crash course of 6+ hours in the Kotlin as well on my YouTube channel. You can check that out as well. So after checking out that, that is the prerequisites for this course. Then you can move out to the Jetpack Compose crash course. And after this, if you want to move to Compose multi-platform as well, I have complete crash course of 10 hours on Compose multi-platform as well on my channel. So that's all about this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have enjoyed it, please like, share, and comment on it. And I will see you in another video with another cool content. Till then, bye bye. Take care. Have a great time. Keep coding.